So I recently rewatched Gamera vs. Gauss, guys, and I thought it was amazing. Like, last time I watched Gamera vs. Gauss, it was a few months ago. It was a good few months ago. So I decided to rewatch it thinking it was a lot better than I usually thought. So it's a bit like Gamera vs. Baragon. Not many kids. Well, it does contain one kid, but he's a lot better than the kids in Gamera vs. Virus and Gamera vs. Sigma. I didn't mind the kid. He didn't sing any songs at the start. He was just a kid that liked Gamera that tried to stop Gauss. He was one of the better kids I've seen in the Gamera series. Well, he may have been in Gamera vs. Sigma because I don't remember the kids in the newer Showa films that well, but maybe it's just he was better in Gamera vs. Gauss. He's either a different kid or the same kid as the one in the other two films, or Gamera vs. Giran, and I just didn't notice. But anyways, with Gamera vs. Gauss, this film was great. And Gauss was a pretty threatening villain. He's a bit like King Ghidorah from Godzilla. I really enjoyed Gauss. He was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this movie, and Gauss lost his toes in like a fight scene where Gamera was dragging Gauss across the sea. And I find it very unique how Gauss lives in a little green cave. That's very interesting to look at, and I really like it. So yeah, I'm going to say this film wasn't as good as Gamera vs. Baragon, but it was still absolutely fantastic. And I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. This was a fun film to sit through. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. I just decided to mention it. Today we are here to talk about Gamera the Brave, the most recent Gamera film. Well, no, they have actually got a Netflix show now, but out of movies, this is the most recent. And this is also my favourite thumbnail they've used in Gamera the Brave as well. Some nice red around it. Yeah, it's the one that's used the least in videos. But anyways, Gamera the Brave. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you why this film is so underrated. Because I consider it underrated. It's one of my favourite Gamera films by a mile. And yeah, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about it. So let me tell you what happens in the story first. Spoiler warning. So there's this kid called Toru. He's a lot better than the Showa kids. He's actually a kid that... He was probably the most enjoyable kid in all of Gamera. I had a lot of fun with Toru. He eventually found some sort of egg, and then a little turtle hatched from it, and he decided to name him Toto. Toto did some very stupid stuff, like almost get run over by a vehicle. And then there was this little scene that was so adorable when Toto was exploring the house. Then the parents saw Toto, and then Toto was scared of them, so he started revealing what he can do, which made us think, this might be Gamera. And yes, it is Gamera. Well, it is Gamera, but it's a different Gamera because the other Gamera died. I think he sacrificed himself. So we've now got a little baby Gamera. Toto is so adorable. And there's points where Toto gets bigger each time. And there's a point where Toto also gets lost. Toto gets lost. They try to look for Toto because, where is Toto? So, they look for Toto, and then a huge dinosaur-looking creature named Zedus starts attacking the city. And Zedus is a pretty cool villain. He's pretty interesting. The way he balances sometimes is a bit weird, though. But nevertheless, had trouble saying that. Zedus was a cool villain. There was a point where Zedus was destroying almost everything. So Gamera, who is Toto, came in to save the day. Toru and his father were shocked to see that Toto had grown a lot. And then Toto and Zedus led to a bridge. Zedus fell, and then they put Toto in a truck, and then Toto was stuck. Or trapped. And then Zedus returns, and then that's when the final fight happens. And I can tell you guys, the final fight in Gamera the Brave was really cool. And they even have a scene where Gamera gets his head stuck in the building. And it's very hard to make something like that work. They made it look realistic that Gamera was trapped in the building. And for example, Godzilla would never be able to do that. If they were making a Godzilla movie, they would never be able to make Godzilla's head get trapped. Maybe Manila, but not Godzilla. They somehow managed to make Toto's head inside a building look realistic enough, because if a giant monster got thrown into a building by their villain, then it would be very hard to make, and I bet they had trouble making it as well. But here we got, like, Zedus throws Gamera into a building. Unfortunately, since Gamera's so young, Gamera was getting destroyed quite a lot in the fight. So Zedus was winning the fight at the start, and then Gamera eventually had a comeback. I actually don't remember how Zedus died. It's been a while since I've watched this film. I watched this film twice. This used to be my favourite Gamera film, but after rewatching the Heisei trilogy, no, I wouldn't say it's as good as the Heisei trilogy, but it's definitely better than all the Showa trilogy, except maybe Gamera vs. Barugon, which I actually talked about last video. But yeah. Anyways, this film was probably one of the saddest films they made, except for maybe Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris. This was probably their saddest film they made. Like, we had some really cool scenes. Toto was like, the ending was so wholesome. Toto looked down at Toru and said goodbye. But yeah, I'd give this film a 10 out of 10. This was incredible. And Zedus is a pretty cool design villain. It's just his feet don't balance on the ground very well. And he's got a really long pointy tail, so it might look a bit odd at times. But yeah, there was a point when I first watched Gamera, it includes this film, where it reminded me of Godzilla, except I actually kind of preferred it. I prefer Godzilla to Gamera, but I used to prefer Gamera after I watched the Gamera series. And not to mention, I can watch all the old Gamera films, but find it really hard to find the old Godzilla films since they made new Godzilla films. So they'll mainly be showing them Godzilla films. Yet, the newest Gamera film was in 2006, not including the Netflix show. Like, the Gamera Rebirth show, I think, yeah. Which made the old films watchable since they didn't replace it with any of the newer ones since they haven't made a new one. But another fun fact, this is the only Gamera film that was made in the 2000s. The rest were 90s, 80s, 70s and 60s. So yeah. This film's only a few years older than me. It was quite new around back in 2011 to 14. So yeah. I consider it quite new somewhere for it being an early 2000s film. I probably only consider it new because it's the newest film Gamera has ever made. But yeah. So Toru was a great character. So was his father. I enjoyed his father a lot in the Gamera trilogy. Well, not in the Gamera trilogy because he was only in one Gamera film, I think. So yeah. This film was a lot of fun, and maybe I should rewatch it again soon. I just love it every time Toru says the word Toto. It's so adorable and it's just sweet. I don't get why there are some people out there that don't like this film, because it's a good film, and I feel like it was very sweet as well. It was very sad, and the story works really well. The only complaint I have is, as much as I love Zedus' design, when he stands on 2 feet on the ground, he looks really weird. He looks like a snake with feet. But either way, Zedus is still a cool creature, and he had a perfect final fight. This is probably in my top 5 final fights. Even though there's barely even 5 Gamera films, there's only 12 Gamera films. I'm not going to count the newest Netflix show because that's a series. But this film is actually, I'm not even lying, it's fantastic. So hopefully it gets, I have seen it get a lot of good reviews before. I see it rated higher than all of the Showa era. But I wonder if I'll ever see some people saying this is better than the Heisei era because it's rare. But it is true that Gamera has reminded me of Godzilla at times. Except I used to prefer him. I prefer Godzilla now, but Gamera the Brave will never be better than the original Godzilla movie. The original Godzilla has an unbeatable story, and the original Godzilla is my favourite movie of all time. So yeah, it will never beat Godzilla in any way, but I used to prefer it to Godzilla, like based on kaiju, not movie. But that's because I didn't watch Godzilla anywhere near as much, because I have watched a lot of Godzilla's Toho films and reviewed a lot of them since I've watched many of them. It's just it's quite hard for me to watch any of them or buy any of them, since you know that they're Toho, and then they made the Monsterverse company, which made Toho not really on point anymore, like on anywhere, so I couldn't find it. The only one I've seen is Godzilla vs. Cosmic Monster, which is actually Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But yeah, back to Gamera the Brave. This was a good film, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope it gets more respect in the future, because this is a good film. And yeah, for a 2006 film, the CGI had improved compared to Gamma Revenger Virus, because Gamma Revenger Virus, as much as it was impressive they managed to make the final fight in their building, when both Gamma and Iris were fighting, all it really was pushing until they went to the building. Gamma the Brave contained many stuff, like punching, throwing Gamma into a building. But yeah, this has many features and emotion that most of the people did not realize. Like, a lot of people completely forgot how sad this film was, because there are a lot of people saying this film's not good. I'm going to go to my minor issues with this film now, since I've been mainly talking about its major stuff. But the first minor stuff, and this is a problem, they replaced Gamera's old roar. So Gamera's old roar was really memorable, and they replaced it with some sort of Tyrannosaurus Rex roar. And I thought it was really weird, and possibly even quite ugly at times. But, like, I'm not calling the creature ugly. I thought Toto was adorable, but his roar was really weird. And yeah, it's something they shouldn't have replaced. My second complaint is the movie should have been longer, like Godzilla Final Wars, because I wanted to see more of this amazing film. And not to mention, and I've already mentioned this minor issue, but I also had a big issue of Zedus balancing in a really weird position. Like, some of you might not know what I mean by that, but I'm trying to explain it as well as possible. So yeah, overall, let's try and ignore the minor stuff about that film, because those are only little features they forgot. It's got nothing to do with the story. But either way, this is a fantastic film. And I really respect it for having one of the only good kids in the entire Gamera trilogy. Tora is one of the only kids that have actually enjoyed in Gamera. It might be because it's a 2006 film, which means the acting would have got better over the years. But Tora is much better than the kids that were in the Showa era of Gamera. I thought Tora was absolutely fantastic. His acting role was perfect. So was his father. Tora's father was probably my favourite human in the film. But back to Toto. So, like I was saying, Toto's adorable. I need to rewatch this one, because it's kind of sad that I've forgotten some of the features they have in Gamera the Brave, because it's that fantastic of a film. And yeah, this will never fail to disappoint me, and it's going to be quite hard to beat this film. Like, the only thing that's ever going to overtake it is Heisei, in my opinion. The Gamera Rebirth shows nowhere near as good as Gamera the Brave, in my opinion. Yeah, I feel like this is going to remain my fourth favourite film in all of Gamera. And yeah, so I basically reviewed the entire film now. But I'm kind of concerned, like, what you think of this movie. Do you hate it? Do you like it? I'd like to see some more opinions, and like, in the comments down below, because this film needs more respect. There's some things that might be quite forgettable about it, but still. And while you're here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. But anyways, this is probably going to be my review for Gamera the Brave. This was a perfect film, and the perfect way they ended it for a very long time as well. It's a shame it's the last Gamera film. Like, that's probably the saddest thing about Gamera leaving the city, because they had like another, let me count, 17 years, approximately, before Gamera Rebirth came out. So, Yeah, Toho Gamera didn't film anywhere near as much as Toho Godzilla, which sucked because I feel like they should have. Because this was a fantastic movie, and a bit like Godzilla, because Godzilla had 6 movies from the Millennium era. Well, Gamera only had 1. They had 3 Heisei films, 8 Showa films, but only 1 Millennium film, which was this one. They need to add more Millennium films. Wait, why am I saying that? That's not going to happen. Millennium was around 2000 to 2010. There's no way you can go back to Millennium. But anyways, this is definitely going to be my review for Gamera the Brave. I've explained everything now. So thank you for watching today's video. I appreciate you for joining in on my review of Gamera the Brave. This is going to remain one of my favourite films by far. I'll always remember Gamera in this film and his little roar that I'm not a big fan of, but it's fine. Anyways, please subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.